All right, hello ladies and gentlemen. We're going to continue with the show here, and it's only going to get better as these things tend to do. It's my pleasure to bring to this stage someone who has come to my stage at Thundering Word a few times, but too few, I would say. It's hard to get this guy out, but it's always well worth it. He's the poet's poet, he's the performer's performer, and we like performance poetry, and this guy epitomizes that. Very theatrical. Mr. Al Mater.
Okay, this first piece is the previous, goes out to the previous host of the Thundering Word, a fellow who is also a big inspiration to me. Teaspoon of snake oil and a touch of Brando, some Tarantino to taste, vaudeville, Catskills, shoe polish and pomade. So roll out the red carpet and roll 7x11 and some drum tobacco and cut the ace of spades, and then bring on a pair of chrome wings and a kick-ass brass halo. A eulogy for T.Paul Ste. You've heard one before? Well, it's time you heard one from me, because he deserves 1,000 poems or more, written 100 times better. And yeah, I know, who the hell am I? These are his stories to tell, but let me testify. He was an iconoclastic, bombastic fashion plate, and if you didn't know him, well, now it's too late, because he's strutting through the pearly gates, but first he'll call a fallen angel over and bum a smoke, flash a cockeyed grin at St. Peter and crack a joke. Yeah, T.Paul Ste. telling tall tales and shaking his fist, but there's no need to double check, because he's always been on the guest list. And even if you didn't see eye to eye, instead you went toe to toe, you'd probably admit that that little shit made a hell of a foe. He was a showman and a shaman and as unique a beatnik as this town ever saw, man. He was heartbreaking, heartbroken, hard-living, outspoken outlaw, and he was a tap dancing, romancing, carousing, rabble-rousing. We owe him 1,000 poems, and if sometimes he was bitter and lacking in tact, well then cut him some slack. He sacrificed so much, got so little back, and for every time I sat hoping that he'd keep his mouth shut, there was a dozen other times that I wished I had his guts. And whenever I wondered whether I'd wasted too much of my life performing for punks and drunks at cabarets and open mics, T-Paul made me feel it was all right. No, scratch that. He made it seem like a necessity, and for what it's worth, I guess, he brought out the best in me. And when I heard T-Paul had died, I cried convulsively, because he still exists in my heart and mind vividly. And just to hell with you if you think this is modeling. I just want to live in T-Paul fashion with a dash of panache and bursting in passion.